All right, we have some very special bonus content to share with you today. This is my full interview with Shirley J. As soon as we started working on our Chicago episode, it was clear. We had to get an interview with Shirley. Not only is she a regular there, but everyone lovingly refers to her as the mayor of Nobody's Darling. It took a lot of tracking down and persuading, but I finally got Shirley on the phone. We started by talking about her life as a young queer person in 1970s Chicago.
Oh, I guess when I realized that I was gay, I actually realized I was 30. I was a slow bloomer, so I didn't come out till later, okay?
Were you in Chicago?
Yeah, I've lived here my whole life. I was born on the South Side. Then I moved to the North Side in the 70s and been here ever since.
So how did it happen that you eventually realized you were gay?
My brother was gay, so I kind of got introduced to the gay scene by him. But that what hit me is the first gay bar was like, whoa. There, it was like made me feel like, oh, there are people here that feel the way I was thinking, okay? It was amazing. You have these feelings, for women, and then it's like back in the day, you couldn't just act on them like that.
That must have been so helpful that your brother was also gay.
Yeah, well, actually, this is a funny story, but one of his friends took me out to a gay bar where he was, and that's how I found out that he was gay. Kind of outed him to me. So that's how it all started.
And then did you meet other queer friends through him?
Along the way, okay, I met some people through him and then introduced by different people in different settings. And, it may be somebody's girlfriend that I might know the girlfriend, or I might know the person that they met and they're with now. So, in the gay community, it's always like groups, how you have certain cliques. And if you meet one person from another clique, 9 times out of 10, they're going to meet your crowd and you're going to meet their crowd. So then that's how it evolves. It just kept building and building as far as friends and places to go. And then I became part of a group that opened up this place called The Warehouse. I don't know if you heard of it. I don't know if you've heard of Frankie Knuckles, but it was a new genre of music after disco, which was house. And so we kind of all went out together, hung out together. It was like guys and girls, okay? So we would have house parties and that. And some of the guys, we were sitting around one night and they started talking about it. And it was from an ideal that we got from New York when they had Davis Loft and other loft-style parties that were going on that would start midnight and last till like 7 in the morning. Because we would frequent New York at least once a month. And just to go party. And we were just discussing, we're sitting around just, chatting like men, you're chatting now, okay? Came up with the ideas, why don't we do this, in Chicago, bring it to Chicago. And everybody was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. So we just started with a house party and it was big, huge, okay? And after that, we had parties every weekend. One night, Saturday night, that was it. And we got a loft space in the warehouse district near the Fulton Market, which is now West Loop. One was on Canal and Adams. And we turned it into like a club, It was just beautiful with the disco ball and balloons, just everything. And kind of just mimic what they did in New York, brought it to Chicago. And it was a hit.
Wow. So the model that you were following from New York was like an after-hours dance club?
Yeah, late night, one night a week. That was what we were mimicking. And the music, we brought new music. That's why house music now is called house, because when we opened up the warehouse, people will say, are you going to the house tonight? So that's what they kind of named the music that we would play there, because it was a different type of music. It wasn't the disco music anymore. It was a house sound. If you know anything about house music, you would understand what I'm saying.
Around what year was this?
I want to say 1980s, maybe. Yeah. Actually, we started, you know what? Actually, let me go back. We started in the 70s. And I think we were done. We started in, I think, maybe, 74, maybe. And then we ended up around, I think, 77, 78, 79.
So, can you describe what the warehouse was like? Like, what did it look like inside?
It was our house. It was our clubhouse, so to speak. Okay. We went shopping. We would go antiquing. We had different rooms that looked different ways. So when you came in, you come into this warehouse and this is industrial district. And then you open up the doors and then you come in and we had everything set up. You couldn't really see the dance floor because we had like curtains to uh, block it off. So when you came in, you just saw even had a coat check. We had rooms where you could sit back and lay back, like a lounge area, watch TV. It was just set up that way. And then if you wanted to chat with somebody, you had, just a room where you could sit and not, be a part of the music. And once you would come through and open up, the curtains here is this big old dance floor, people dancing and lights going on and all. The ceiling had parachutes, pulled out with balloons underneath and lighting. This is something that you really had to see to really appreciate it. So, oh man, it was just beautiful.
How did you spread the word about it? Like, how did it become so popular?
We kind of designed a way of having people kind of come to our parties by having them become members. Okay. So you had to come to a party 3 times in a row to become a member. So we would get to know you, you know. And once you did that, you can just sign up as a member. And we had a guest list. So we would keep track of all the members. So every time we open up the doors, we would check off that person when they come in. And if they brought a guest, we would allow them to bring a guest or two. And if their guest came a number of times, just to kind of figure it out who was coming and keep it safe. Even though it was, men and women, boys and girls, we still had to worry, a little bit, especially back in the 80s. It was really, common to kind of be discreet. A lot of my friends, a lot of my male friends they would come to the north side and they would actually get a locker downtown in order to change clothes. Okay. It's, because they didn't want to travel on the public transportation looking gay. Okay.
Oh, wow. So, did the club ever get raided?
No, we didn't because we didn't serve alcohol. You know, it was just, non-alcoholic. We weren't a bar. It was like a club. So no, we never did.
Okay. Did you ever feel unsafe personally being out at the time?
Uh, no, not really. No. As far as danger, no, because when we went, we were, always trying to be safe. And we were, like I said, we always traveled in an entourage. So the only time that I felt like, uh, threatened or anything like that was if I went to a bar and they wouldn't let my friends in. It seems like when I would go in, they would say, you can come in, but, there's too many people with you. You see what I'm saying? So it was like that.
Do you know why that would happen?
For Black gay women or lesbian women, it was harder to get in as a group to some of the bars that were open. If it was more than 2 of you and you were Black, they would they wouldn't let you in. So it was a few of them like that.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, well, that's the way it was back then. That was the 70s. And so you come in, if you're coming in with a group, it's 3 or 4 of you guys, you're not getting in, okay? So you had to break up and go in twos, or if you knew, they knew you or kind of knew you, and they're like, come on in. But yeah, we had to do that back then.
So that would happen at some of the other gay bars in the area. Were there a lot of them at the time?
It was, it was more bars than now. And a lot of them were gay, and the women's bars like uh, Carol's and Maryland's and the Miz, it was just more to choose from. And then there was Paris Dance. So then over the years, those bars started to close, and the only thing that was left was Stargaze. Okay. So that was the end of the era of more choices as far as bars were concerned.
And then, do you know around when they started closing?
It had to be, I think, well, over 10 years ago, I would say, for Stargaze. This is, yeah, over 10 years ago for Stargaze. And with Tease, it was right after that. So maybe, I would say 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay, so Joy Divine is the bar that was in the space that Nobody's Darling is in now. And that didn't close until kind of recently. So was that one of the last bars to close in the area?
Yes, the last to close of those bars, because Joy Divine is a neighborhood bar. So you had, the residents would come in for drinks, but the girls kind of slowed down going there. Over the years, it started to just, it wasn't as popular as it was before. And so the clientele was like, not like it used to be. So I was throwing parties there to keep, kind of trying to keep it alive. And Lori and I had developed a friendship, who was a previous owner of Joy Divine, and just trying to, help keep it open. So on certain holidays, I would have house parties like Christmas and that. And then my house got too small for my party. So I said, oh, well, let me just, ask Lori, can I throw the party over there? And then I started doing my parties over there. And which, you know, helped out in the ways girls started coming and, I would pack the bar. And so we were having fun doing that. But as I say, the business declined. People weren't really coming out and supporting. So it was like a slow decline.
So, how would that work when you would throw the parties there? Would you rent out the space from Lori?
Well, no, it was never shut down. People were throwing parties. She always would let anybody that come in, because she, like I said, she has a clientele, small clientele that would be there. So, yeah, I didn't have to rent it from her because it was like I was bringing in people and she would get, the money at the bar. So that was helping both ways. So I could throw my parties there and it helps her because people were buying drinks. So, like I said, and that was during the slow time.
Can you describe Joy Divines? Like, what was it like?
Oh my God. Joy Divine when it opened up 2003. Okay. And that was it was a wine bar. So it attracted girls when they would come from out of town. It was more like a date bar and kind of classy. And girls would go there, on dates and that. And it was the bar to go to back then, and that was open when Stargaze was open. So you had Stargaze and you had the wine bar, and Stargaze was more a dance type bar, and they had dance, they had a pool table, you could mingle and do a lot of things. They had different nights for different music. They had salsa night, uh, which was a good night, and it was we used to go step into the wine bar, which was Joy Divine, and maybe have a couple of sips of wine. Then they had a cheese flight and then talk and then head over to Stargaze because Stargaze was where the music was jumping and people were dancing. And so that's how it went.
And then, how did you end up meeting Angela and Renata?
I've known Angela and Renata, 7 or more years. And I met them going to Renata was having pop-up parties at different locations throughout the city. Because as you know, a lot of the girls' bars had closed in the city of Chicago. So they started giving pop-up parties. I was introduced to Renata by one of my friends, okay? And we talked for a minute, and then she invited us to one of her parties, and my friend invited her to one of her parties. So we kind of just started hanging out, other than, the brunch remix and the pop-up parties. And that's how we became friends. And Angela, the same. I was more or less introduced to both of them around the same time. I think it was at the same party.
Do you remember what your first impressions were of the two of them?
I love them. That's I can say that I really love them. They're engaging and friendly. They're like family. When you meet them, they're like, I'm trying to look for a word, but it's just like it was so spontaneous, and we just start talking. You know, they're warm and they just they invite you in. What can I tell you? So that's what I felt the first time. They weren't standoffish at all. They were like, "Hey, hi," "Who are you?" Like that. It was really nice. It was a nice introduction, and it sticks in my mind because I could still see Renata's face and Angie's face. So we started seeing each other more at other parties and other friends' houses, and we just got to know each other.
Can you describe Renata's parties? Like, what were those like?
Oh my God, they were wonderful because it was a chance that you can go to an all girls party, okay? Because after Stargaze closed, Tees closed, all the bars closed, there was nothing for us to really do. There were a few pop up parties at the Attic, Hamburgers Mary's Attic, and other places but it hadn't been anything really something to look forward to until they start throwing their parties. And they were always classy, The girls were beautiful, and it was a mix. And that's what really, really, really got you going. It's diverse, women of all ages, and it was just something different. And the novelty about it was that it was never at the same place. Okay, so it would be in Boys Town one day, and then it would be someplace entirely different the next. So they were like moving around town, so to speak, and it was great. Sometimes it would be a city winery, and it gave the chance for the girls to come out, mingle, mostly lesbians, mostly gay women. So that was the charm of it all.
How would people hear about these parties? Like, how did you originally find them?
Okay, well, again, I had met Renata, and uh, she was actually throwing the parties, and it was like word of mouth. I'm giving a party, and you get invited, and through social media they would advertise. But me being in the in crowd, I would hear about it before they even put it, online. So that's how, I would hear about the parties mainly. Every time you get an email, I was on the guest list, and she sent out an email, and then I was like, oh, okay, then get tickets, and then you go.
So then Angela and Renata end up taking over the Joy Divine space. What did you think of that when you first heard about it?
I was excited. I was really excited that it wasn't going to close. Okay. And it was people that we knew that bought it. And it was going to be women owned, Black owned. I mean, it was just going to be something new. And I knew that Renata, she's really skilled at throwing parties, and I knew that it was going to, be a nice place to go to. So I was excited. I was really excited. I was excited that the club was going to keep, I was going to stay in the neighborhood. It wasn't going to close down. I live in the neighborhood, so that's why I called it my Cheers bar, because it takes me 5 minutes to get there. And uh, I was kind of bittersweet about Lori kind of losing the bar, but again, it was like a win for the girls. I mean, and Black women own, and it's new, okay, because all during my lifetime there's only one bar that I can remember, except the bars that early, but I didn't know about those bars. They were boys' bars, but was the Jeffrey Pub, and that was Black owned. So other than that, this is just different, But again, it's a different feel because it's diverse. That's what I love about it.
Do you remember how you first found out about them opening Nobody's Darling?
Yeah, I was passing by there, just ironic, and they had just signed the contract uh, with Lori. They were sitting inside, but the door was open, and I had popped by and said hello, and I introduced Renata and Angie to Kathy, who runs Pauline's restaurant, and they've been in the neighborhood forever. Okay, it's just so happened the day they signed the contract, we all were like there. Okay, I was passing it through, and they said, "Come on in," and then Kathy was doing something with the tables for Pauline's, and so kind of all happened, and so they started merging together. And as far as on Saturdays and Sundays, they have brunch there from Pauline's.
Oh, cool, cool. Are there other differences that stand out to you about Nobody's Darling now versus Joy Divine's?
It's a different vibe. Joy Divine, like I said, was a wine bar. And when it was really, really jumping, it was elegant, it's classy, and it had a good feel. Uh, Darlings, it's how things evolve. I think that Darlings is more in line with the new trend of the craft cocktails. I think that's part of it, and the fact that Renata is amazing. She is amazing. You know, she is great, great at producing. She really is. And it's always something happening new, the singles, the drag brunch. There's always something going on, and that's what's different from what it was before.
What about how it looks? Does it look significantly different?
It looks different. It has some of the same characteristics, but I think what was really very impressive was and a big change was the way the chalkboard was used. Okay, they have a chalkboard against the exposed brick wall that has the poem from Alice Walker, "Nobody's Darling," and so it's written on that chalkboard. And when you walk in and you have a seat and you sit there, it's like, wow. And I think because it's like, okay, I get it. Nobody's darling.
Were you at the opening party?
Yeah. Well, they had a grand opening, but that was like different. But the opening to the public, it was like, wow. And it was just amazing to go there and see your friends, okay, as the owners. So it was I was just happy. I was really happy. And I think everybody else was. It was packed. It was so crowded because the plus was that it was summer was approaching. We were able to sit outside. So with the pandemic going on, it was more easier for me and I guess other people to sit outside. We were masked, but it was just a whole different flavor. And it was so crowded. They had tables all the way down to the corner, okay, which hadn't been that way for years. A lot of my old friends, a lot of friends that we hung out with at Clandestina and the Brunch Remix, a lot of those girls showed up. So it was like a reunion.
Mm-hmm. So now I know you're somewhat of a regular there, but how did people start calling you the mayor of Nobody's Darling?
You know, that kind of stuck with me. I think because I know a lot of people. When I come in, everybody say, hey, Shirley, like that. And I bring people there. So I think that's how I got that name. And Angie could probably tell you better than I can. Because every time I introduce her to somebody, or she introduced me to somebody, she said, "Oh, you're the mayor." So it kind of stuck.
How do you feel about being called that? Like, what do you think of the nickname?
I laugh, I chuckle a little bit. I'm like, okay, now I'm the mayor, okay, and it just stuck. I don't know. I don't. I think it's. I don't know. I think it's an affectionate type thing. That's the way I feel like it. Like I'm kind of blushing right now, okay? And I'm smiling. Yes, if you saw me, I'm smiling now. It makes me smile and makes me know that that I'm loved back. So, and then Angie's partner, Sophia, she made me a VIP sign so that I would always have this sign and it says reserved. Okay, and for me. So I can use the sign anytime I want to use it. If I want to, clear a table or something like that, I can use the sign. So that made me feel very welcome and very loved. I can put it everywhere I want. Of course, I'm not going to make people get up. But if I get there and there's a table, I can just set it there and that's my table. And it's shaped like a butterfly. So that's why I said it's like a Cheers bar to me because, everybody knows my name, it seems like. And even some of the new people I've met there, and I've been seeing them. They've been coming in. And it's good when you come in and someone say, "Hey, Shirley," or "Hey, Mayor," or they'll announce the mayor's here. So it's a feel good bar. That's what I would say.
Yeah, that's awesome. I also heard that you'll often buy rounds of drinks for people that you meet at the bar. Is that true?
Depending, yeah, I buy drinks for everybody. I don't just say, "Hey, drinks on the bar on me." No, but if I meet people, I say, "Hey, you want me to buy you a drink?" And they're like, "You want a drink?" And they're like, "Yeah." And then in turn, I get a drink. So it's like, yeah, that's me. Okay, you heard that, huh? And with my friends too, I do that too. But yeah, if I meet somebody and we're talking, of course I'm going to say, "Hey, you want a drink?" And it's like, yeah, and I'm like, "Okay, Zach, could you give this girl over here a drink?" Like that. So, uh, and then I move on. But I'm a giving person. What can I tell you?
Yeah, it seems like it. So, how often would you say you go to the bar? Because it's right in your neighborhood, so it must be really convenient to just stop by, right?
Often. In the last few weeks, I haven't been because I had uh, a little surgery. Imperfect health. Oh, twice, three times, maybe. It's like home. Like I said, it's like Cheers, and I can just go over it anytime. Sometimes I'm there more often than that. This past summer, I was there a lot. Okay, so in the afternoon and the evening, and then it's a place to go to if you go out to dinner. You know where we go now. Nobody's darling. So that's the nightcap place too.
So, when you bring friends there, are those the same people from the warehouse and that you used to go clubbing with, like that same group?
Yep, we're still friends, and we're still, yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome. What are they like? Can you describe your group of friends?
Okay, so I hang out with a crew of women. They're all queer women. Always, if we have a party, we invite each other. A house party. If we have a birthday, we have a dinner, we invite each other. So those are the people that I usually come up there with, or go to a party with. So if we're going out, we'll call each other. Hey, you going up to Nobody's Darling tonight? We're coming over. Okay, who's coming? Blah blah blah, and then we all meet up. So that's our meetup place now. And that's where we hang. My friends from the South Side that I've been friends with for years, they come over, and then my friends on the North Side, I have a few of those, and we all just end up hanging out at Nobody's Darling.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I have one more question. Do you have any favorite memories that you want to share about Nobody's Darling?
Yeah. So one night I was in there, and it was just when it was fairly new, just open. We were inside that night for some reason, and I don't know if it had been raining or whatever, but some reason, then all of a sudden, it was a group of girls towards the back. Whitney Houston's song, "I Want to Dance with Somebody" came on. And the whole bar started singing that song. The whole song. And we were jumping up and singing. And it was just, oh my God, it was just, it was really, really inspirational. I don't know, I felt a lot. I just felt connected. Like, I don't know these people. And I didn't, but we were had our arms around each other, and this did it for me. And they were young, they were older, it was just a moment. And that was just one of the nights, that really just took me, to another level and said, this is it. This is what I'm talking about.
Cruising is reported and produced by Rachel Karp, Jen McGinity, and me, Sarah Gabrielli. Our theme song is by Joey Freeman. Follow us along on our road trip and see pictures at our website, cruisingpod.com, or follow us on social media at cruisingpod. You can listen wherever you get your podcasts.